It's Friday again, and that means Questions with Father Luke. I'm Father Luke of Covenant Anglican Church in San Marcos, Texas, and today's question is, do you prefer celebrating weddings or funerals? A little personal question. Uh, well, I've known pastors who prefer celebrating funerals, and there's good reason for that, right? The Anglican liturgy for funerals soberly embraces the reality of death. It powerfully emphasizes the hope of the resurrection, and it presents the gospel of Jesus Christ as the means for reconciliation. And it can be beautiful, encouraging, and uplifting. It too is a celebratory, especially if the person was a believer. It is a worship service. It can be really lovely. In addition, Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 2 says, "It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart." Meaning that at a funeral, we're often struck with our own morality or mortality, and we begin to think about, what is the meaning of life? What happens after we die? Now, it is good to have those moments. Now, you ask my personal preference. My personal preference is to celebrate weddings. I have done funerals, probably more funerals than weddings, but I prefer weddings. I love new beginnings, the joy that's just in the air surrounding the two who are about to get married, and I believe that atmosphere also can be just as jarring as a funeral. Those who gathered for the wedding to witness it, I mean, they come with all kinds of baggage, all kinds of confusion, all kinds of pain of their own. And some of these witnesses will be frustrated by the state of their own marriages. They're going to be lamenting the divorce that they just had or that they're trying to go through. Some of them are going to be wishing that they could be married themselves because they're longing for it, but they've never been able to get married. And I think the Anglican liturgy for weddings speaks powerfully into all these places of ecstasy or hurt. One of the things we do in the Anglican wedding is we emphasize that marriage is the covenant relationship between one man and one woman that's characterized by self-giving love, right? That exclusive fidelity and the potential for children and the mutual joy, purity, and the nurture of Christ's kingdom in society. And what it does is it is a moment where these two human beings come together and reflect Christ and the church. And so the wedding ceremony itself is a public worship service that declares for all that marriage is not merely this private institution, but it's for the sake of the world, and that our marriages are meant to reflect Jesus and the church. And while Ecclesiastes is correct that we need these moments in life that sober us up to the real issues in life, I think the scriptures also encourage us to embrace joy and embrace feasting more than we often do. Or at least the world's vision of partying, I think, is too reductive and selfish. And we Christians ought to be the most joyful folks in the world. And a thoroughly Christian wedding, I think, exalts Christ, calls us to deal honestly with our own failures and covenant relationships that we've been a part of. And it calls us it brings us together in community, while also becoming an expression of Christ-like joy for the world to see and to experience. So if you have thoughts or questions about weddings or funerals in general, you can share them in the comment section, or better yet, come join us on a Sunday and let's connect.